Virgo. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is where you are. I need you to be awake for this one. Fully awake, because what is coming your way is going to require every bit of that sharp Virgo mind and that steady Virgo heart. Welcome. Brace yourself, not in fear, in readiness. Something is coming, and it is not small. I want to start there with the size of it, because sometimes in messages like this, the language gets vague, gets softened, gets hedged into something manageable, and I do not want to do that today. Today I want to be direct in the language you understand best. A conversation is coming, not a casual exchange, not a check-in, not the kind of conversation that ends the same way it began. The talk, the one that changes things, the one that moves something from one place to another, the one that says what has been sitting unsaid for whatever length of time it has been sitting unsaid, finally, out loud, between two people, in real time. And Virgo, it is going to leave your head spinning. Whew. I want to speak to what that means, head spinning, because for you specifically, Virgo, that is a particular experience. Your mind does not spin easily. It is precise. It is analytical. It processes things quickly and clearly and files them into their correct categories. It does not spin unless something arrives that does not fit any category, something that your processing cannot immediately handle, something that is too large or too surprising or too significant for the usual systems to manage. When a Virgo's head spins, it means something extraordinary just happened. And that is what is coming, something extraordinary, arriving through your phone, or through a conversation that begins ordinarily and becomes anything but. I want to tell you about the person behind this talk, because understanding them will help you understand what is coming and why now, why this moment, why after whatever amount of time has passed, this is the moment they choose. This is someone who has been in their own internal weather for a while, their own particular kind of storm, not dramatic from the outside, but very real from the inside. The kind of storm that happens when someone knows what they need to say and has not yet found the nerve to say it. The kind that builds and builds as every day passes without the conversation happening. And the pressure of the unsaid increases. They have been living with that pressure, with the weight of what they have been carrying about you, about this connection, about what they feel, and what they have not been willing to fully acknowledge until now. Something shifted recently, something internal that broke through the management. That made continuing to hold it more difficult than the vulnerability of finally speaking. And so the talk is coming. Now I want to speak directly to you. Virgo, because I need to say something about how you tend to handle conversations like this. So you can do it differently this time. If you need to, when something significant is said to you, something that catches you off guard, something you did not fully expect, your first move is to process immediately. Automatically, the analytical engine fires up and begins examining everything, every word, every implication, every possible meaning, every potential problem, every risk, every way this could go wrong. And sometimes, while that engine is running, you miss the feeling, the actual feeling of the moment, because the analysis has taken over the space where the feeling should be living. When the talk arrives, I want you to try something different. Just for the first few minutes, I want you to let the feeling come first, before the analysis, before the processing, before the Virgo mind organizes everything into its correct categories. Feel it first, then think about it. The thinking will still happen. You are a Virgo. It will always happen. But let the feeling have its moment first, because the feeling is information too, and it carries things the analysis cannot reach. Let me tell you what this talk may look like, in the specific forms it could take, so you are watching in the right directions and not looking at one door while it comes through another. It may come as a text, longer than usual, with a different energy than their messages usually carry, something in the words that feels weighted, considered, like someone who drafted it more than once and finally sent the real version rather than the managed one. It may come as a call from a number you recognize at a moment when you were not expecting to hear from them, and in the first seconds of their voice, you will know, before anything has been said, that this is different, that they did not call for the reason calls usually happen between you, that something else is coming through the line. It may come in person, a moment where they ask to see you, or where you find yourselves in the same space, and something in the way they look at you before they have spoken a word tells you that today is the day, that today is when it finally happens. However it arrives, you will feel it before you understand it. Your Virgo perception, that finely calibrated instrument, will pick it up in the opening moments before you have had time to intellectualize what you are sensing. Trust that perception. When it fires, it is right. I want to talk about what the talk is going to contain, because I know you want specifics, and I am going to give you what I can. There is something this person needs to acknowledge, something about how they have been in this connection, something they have not been fully honest about, not necessarily dishonest in a harmful way, but not fully open, not fully present, not fully showing you what has been happening in them while they were showing you something else entirely. That gap between what they were showing and what was actually happening is what the talk is going to address. They are going to close that gap by letting you see what was actually there all along. On the other side of the managed version of themselves that you have been interacting with, and Virgo, you already sensed the gap, didn't you? You always do. That is the particular gift and burden of being you. You can feel the distance between what someone is saying and what they are actually experiencing, even when they are managing it expertly, even when no one else in the room would notice. You notice. You have been noticing the gap for a while without being able to say exactly what it was or get anyone else to confirm it or do anything about it except file it away in that meticulous Virgo mind and wait. You are done waiting. I also want to speak to the spinning, because I said your head is going to spin, and I want you to understand why. So you do not panic when it happens. Your head is going to spin because what is said is going to confirm something you already suspected, but talked yourself out of believing multiple times because believing it without confirmation felt too risky. Too much like wishful thinking. Too much like something that could lead to disappointment. The spinning is the sensation of, oh, I was right. I was right all along. And I spent all that time and energy convincing myself I wasn't. That particular vertigo is not bad. It is disorienting, but it is the vertigo of something resolving, of a long uncertainty landing, of a question that has been living in you, finally receiving its answer. Let yourself be dizzy for a moment. You do not have to respond instantly. You do not have to have the perfect reaction immediately. You are allowed to breathe and feel the spin settle before you say anything. Whew. Now I need to say something important about your side of this conversation. Because the talk is not a monologue, it goes both directions. And Virgo, you have something to say too. Maybe you have been waiting to say it. Maybe you have been holding your own version of the unsaid, your own truth about this connection, your own feelings that you have been managing, organizing, filing away into the place where Virgo keeps things that are too uncertain to act on. The talk is going to create the space for those things to come out too. If you let it, do not perform Virgo composure in this moment. Do not give them the managed version of yourself while they are giving you the real version of themselves. That asymmetry would not serve you or them or the connection. Match their honesty with your own, even if it is uncomfortable, even if it requires you to say something you have not said out loud before, even if the Virgo part of you is screaming for more time, more analysis, more certainty before speaking. Speak anyway, from what is real, not from what is safe. I want to say one more thing about this conversation, about what it represents. In the larger arc of your story with this person, this is the moment things become real. Not the moment something is decided, not the moment an outcome is determined, but the moment two people stop moving around something and start moving toward it together with honesty, with the actual truth of what is there, rather than the comfortable version they have each been maintaining. For whatever reason, up until now, real is terrifying. Real requires vulnerability. Real asks something of both people. That managed and comfortable and carefully handled does not ask. But real is the only thing that builds something worth having. And you, Virgo, with all your precision and your perception and your capacity for depth, have always known that, have always wanted the real thing. Even when it was easier to accept something less, the real thing is what is arriving. Get ready for the talk, Virgo, not by preparing what you are going to say, not by rehearsing your responses, not by running every possible scenario through that brilliant mind of yours, until you have analyzed away all the uncertainty. Get ready by getting present, by dropping into your body, your chest, your gut, the place where your actual feelings live, before the analysis gets to them. Get ready by deciding, before the conversation happens, that you are going to let it be real on both sides, without managing it into something safer, without performing the composed Virgo version of yourself, when what the moment needs is the actual you. Get ready by trusting that whatever is said, you can handle. Whatever is revealed, you can navigate. Whatever spins your head will eventually settle. And when it does, you will know exactly what to do, because you always do. Whew. The talk is coming, Virgo. And when it arrives, when your phone lights up with that name, or that voice comes through the line, or they ask to see you, and you feel that particular electricity in the air, that tells you this is it. This is the one. Remember this. You were always ready for this. Even when you doubted it, even when you told yourself you had moved on, even when the waiting felt endless, something in you was always exactly ready. Show up as that person, because that person is exactly who this moment needs.